Hello, everybody. We will just wait for about 2-3 minutes and let people join, and then we'll start the conversation off. So if you could just be patient for 2-3 minutes.
ఒక హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్ తర్వాత చాయ్ తీసి
We will wait for one more minute and then start for everyone who just joined. We're just waiting and seeing if anyone else is joining, and then we'll start off. So we'll start in a minute. Okay, I think we can start. I think we have quite a few people here. And then as people join, they can join the conversation. So welcome everybody to this deep dive with Dinesh, who is from Samarpanam Farmers Market in Pondicherry. So how we'll go about this is that I will have a few questions that I'll ask Dinesh to start us off. And then for about 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and then we'll open the questions to all of you if you have any questions. While we are having a conversation also, if there are things coming to your mind, please feel free to write in the chat, and then as soon as we're done, we can get to the questions. I would also request that if you're not asking a question, please stay on mute, because otherwise, our voices won't be heard. So I would really request you all to do that. And my last request is, if your internet is allowing you, then it would be lovely to see some faces, because otherwise it seems like you're just talking to a blank screen. So if you could turn your videos on, that would be lovely if your internet allows you. Okay, great. So let's kick off. So welcome, Dinesh, and thank you for being here and having this chat with all of us. So if you were there for the session before this, which was the panel dialogue, Dinesh already spoke about his journey and how he got into this space and what all he's done. So I'm not going to go into that again. So I'll straight away go into a question. And my first question to you, Dinesh, is that what skills did you need to start off in the space that you're in?
One word: taking action.
Of course, yes.
See, even though my father had expertise of.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Even though my father and my family had the expertise of farming, I call my father a golden jubilee farmer. He is close to 70 now, and he has been actively working in the farm since 15-16 years old. But you don't want to help someone who has a difference in opinion of what he is doing and what you think that he is doing. So I had zero support from my family when I started. So, hello.
Yeah. Can hear you.
So, as I said, taking action is one thing. There used to be days where I wouldn't know what to do the next day morning, where to start. What is someone should tell you what is the priority when you don't know what should be done first. So I wasted a lot of time. I mean, I should call it learning. I roamed around a lot, meeting people all day, having random conversations where I think about such conversations today. Um, I feel how much time has gone into all this, and that's how it happened. Yeah, I would say take action.
Great. That's for everyone here. Take action. Okay. So actually, I'll pick up from where you left off. So you said that there was a difference in opinion with your family, and so there was not much support initially. And so how did you kind of maneuver that? Because I'm sure there are a lot of people who, when they choose a livelihood, so to say, that is a challenge they may face. So what would you suggest from your own journey, if there's anything you could suggest as advice to people, or how to get through that?
I think this one is everyone has their own formula. They like their own way. There's no formula to it because I'm a single kid and a pampered kid, and I was a bit rebellious when it came to my parents. I wouldn't come home for days. Then things used to get a bit better. Then I used to come back home, and within a week things would go worse, and I would disappear for a few days or a week or a bit more than that. It's a process, constant arguments, yelling, being yelled at. Everything used to happen. But my parents were supportive in different means. I don't know how to put them in words, but I for some reason know that whatever happens, I can come back home. I would put it this way. But Pondicherry being a community, I don't know how many of you here knows Auroville. So I had a very good relationship with a lot of communities in Auroville. I would literally go and end up, I would fight with my parents, go end up in one of the communities in Auroville like night 9:30 and tell them, no, I'm going to stay here for the next few days and volunteer and work with them. I should say Auroville was a incubation. It was an incubation for my thoughts. Even though I don't meet people, or even though there's no validation from someone in Auroville, the time which I spent in Auroville and the energy which so like thousands and thousands of people have put in for the past 50 years keeps communicating something. The buildings there, the experiments which they have done there, the forests which they have developed, kept on communicating something. In that sense, I'm lucky to be located in, like, I'm 15 minutes away from Auroville, so.
और लोकल चीजें सीखनी है जैसे.
This was again one request, people, please keep yourself on mute, because otherwise our voices aren't heard. Thank you. Continue. Sorry, Dinesh.
So to cut it short, now there are two different activities. One is the store, which is Samarthanam Farmers Market, and the farm. My father doesn't care about me and what I do when it comes to the store because he has seen me perform for the past 3 years. In this sense, I would say performance. You show the results, and they don't. I mean, even now, my father has an insecurity about the decisions, and whatever I do in the farm, he has insecurities. He tries to micromanage. for instance, one of our crops, farmers has this habit of just getting rid of the crop the same day they harvest it or the next day. Especially crops like moong and urad, they get infected by bugs very fast. So they just get rid of it the same day or the next day. So I told him, I'm going to keep this. He started panicking, saying that, no, you'll waste the whole quantity. And all. I told him, just wait. It'll be gone in a week. And I'm going to sell it at a good price. So we sold it at a reasonable retail price in the market. I sold it to the people directly and we got a good price. Like the public distribution system, the government, we call it committee, the procurement committee. Maybe let's say buys it for 55 rupees, I sold it for 110 rupees. So this was an experiment, and that was an instance when my father, there was just a smile in his face when this was done. I gave him the money, saying that here's your money, all the produce is gone. So the smile said, okay, this fellow is doing something. He didn't acknowledge it in words, but yeah, let's go. Hello.
Okay, great. Thank you. That is actually a really good point, that, show results and then you will convince people of what you're doing and the value of what you're doing. So thank you for that. So in terms of, you said the skills, what it took you was a mindset of take action, and this is how, and that's how you start. But I would just like you to, if you could just, kind of talk about how, if someone in this room or people in this room wanted to get into the same space, then what are these kind of skills they would need in terms of some concrete skills, and where could they get those skills from? If you would know anything of, if you could suggest anything to people in this room.
Can you be more specific with farming or with marketing? Because it's two different things where I ended up doing both, unfortunately or fortunately.
Yeah. So we can talk about both actually, but since, we are also talking about the marketing aspect of it more here, because we're talking about your farmers market. So if you can just talk about that more, but you can add about farming as well, for sure.
Personally, and also a bunch of people's opinion who are very close to me, my well-wishers, farmers who have inspired me to do this work. We had a very similar opinion that marketing, like for me personally, focusing on the store right now is very important than the farm. The reason I keep hearing this from a bunch of farmers in the initial days, they say you're young, you can communicate to people, you run around, you want to learn. Creating the market for the produce and understanding the market for the produce, it's a niche market. It's not an organized sector, especially organized, organic food is not an organized sector. So you don't know what happens tomorrow. So it is important to understand what is happening. For that matter, it's also important to understand, as a person who is involved in it, what all happens when it comes to adding up of costs, storage, how to store it, transportation, challenges in packaging, reaching it to people. Organic has different, the seed is different, the growing methods are different, processing methods are different, storage methods are different, the way you market it needs to be different, the way you cook it needs to be different, the way you chew it needs to be different. Let's say very simply, unpolished hand pound rice, you'll have to cook with a different proportion of water. You'll have to chew well for you to experience the effect, like true effect of eating red rice. So there's so much when it comes to organic food. Understanding all of it is important when it comes to marketing. So there's so much. We are in a position where we tell farmers what can you do, even when it comes to decisions, we make decisions for their seeds. We tell them this is a good seed. If we happen to identify good seeds from other farmers, We suggest the other farmer to grow the seed. I have a lot of people, like a bunch of farmers. Let's say we have 3 papaya farmers now. All the 3 papaya farmers, I suggested them saplings, and I personally got them saplings, and they grew papaya. So we are wanting to create this relationship from seed to plate. Knowing one who sells the seed, knowing one who grows it, knowing the one who processes it, and knowing your customer. So it made more sense to put in maximum amount of energy in marketing. And personally, running the store has helped me in generating some funds for the farm. Because farm life is, you don't have money whenever you need it. If there is if something, the pump doesn't work, or there is an emergency expense in the farm, you don't have the money ready to spend on it. I've seen my father have this challenge for the past like 25 years. I've seen him go through this challenge. So I've helped him with money whenever he needed from the store, which was generated from the store. So I thought store will help me cover a lot of aspects. Few years from now, if I decide that I'm not going to run the store, for some farmers market, if I go and sit in the farm, I'll still keep receiving calls saying, do you have this, do you have that? I don't know where calls come from, just keeps coming. So that is that's something which is very positive, which can happen when you are completely involved in activity, and all the effort and the time and energy which you put for years is coming back to you in terms of, I don't have to spend time in marketing, promotion. I just have to respond to them properly. And I make it a point that even when I say no, I don't have something, I make sure that I give a good response to people. My no is different from a lot of other people's no. Even people who sell organic food, I say no with a reason. Like, let's say people ask organic maida, it's very hypocritical and contradictory to sell organic maida, because maida itself is not organic. The process is not organic. People ask for crystallized organic sugar. So crystallization goes through chemical refining. So we take time to, it's not that even if I'm busy, I don't tell them, no, we don't have organic sugar. There's nothing called organic sugar. I don't do it. I tell people that, there's nothing called organic sugar. The idea is different. Sugar goes through refining. Organic sugar, jaggery is the only organic sugar which you can use. So we also take a lot of time to educate customers about what we eat, how we eat, and what we demand. Unfortunately, customers today think if they need something, they know that they can afford something. If they think that they need something, they need the produce, they need service, and they need quality. If you miss out on one of these things, they don't want to waste time on you. This also happens with me when I use any service, internet, or any service. The money which I pay for the service, I want complete value for it. But I would say when it comes to organic food, it's everyone's effort put together where change can start happening.
Yes.
So,
absolutely. And I think what you're saying is basically around like how the communication skill here plays such a big role, because you're building relationships outward with your customer, but then you also build relationships with your suppliers and your farmers, which is how this whole chain is so beautifully sustainable, and people come back to you. So I think that is really beautiful. Thank you for that. So you mentioned about how your store, what the money that comes in through your store is how you're even able to sustain your farming effort the farm where you are growing. So can you talk a little bit more about that in terms of what is the model like that makes it sustainable, and is it you're completely sustainable, or what is the situation with money is what I think everyone wants to know. So I thought I might as well ask you.
It's a very intuitive model. I make a lot of decisions based on my intuition when it comes to the store and the farm. We still struggle with finances. It's just helping us with rotation. That's it. Having the farm and the store as a different entity, if I take something from the store account for rotation and I expect it to come back to the store's account within 10-15 days, me and my father start fighting. I tell him, it has been like, I gave you 40,000. He asked me, I need to fix a pump, I need money. So I gave him 40,000, and after 15 days, he didn't care to talk a word about it. I asked him, what is happening? I have expenses in the store. I need to pay the farmers. So he took it in a different way. He's like, I was the one who brought you up. I was the one who gave you everything for the past 20 days. Okay, fine, but this is business. I have, this is. So even now, my father doesn't understand this, that business is business, because it's a baby by itself. It needs, you need to feed it. So this happens literally every day, every week this happens. He tries to make decisions in my business. I tell him, you don't spend time for my business. You don't know what's happening, but why are you making decisions? Like, I care for you. I don't want you to lose. I told him, no, the decisions which you make will make me lose. Please don't make any decisions for the store. It's a very, the model which I built is a very region specific model. I'm wondering if I was located in a place like Chennai or Bangalore, I don't know if I would do the same model, because Pondicherry being a very small town, I don't know how many of you know this, Pondicherry has the maximum percentage of irrigated area, like the vegetation area in the country. The maximum, demographically, the maximum percentage of the area given to a state is cultivated by the Pondicherry UT. So we have connection by road with all the neighboring districts of Tamil Nadu. Chennai is 2 hours. Other small towns in which share borders with Pondicherry is like half an hour. We have 25-30 kilometers. We reach almost all the directions, all the borders of Tamil Nadu. We also have this privilege of bringing in produce from Tamil Nadu. So this was the base of the idea. I thought it's easy for me to connect with farmers, easy for me to see, keep the authenticity of the produce, what methods they do, and to know in and out about what's happening, and to build a small community in this region for growing food, marketing food, and everything, starting from seed to plate, as I was mentioning. So this is a very region specific idea. I would suggest people to think what their region needs. If they want to start from Delhi, or if they want to start from Chennai or Bangalore, they can just do a survey of what their town or city needs. I can help people. I can share questions with people which they can ask for themselves and find answers for themselves, and I can help them go through the process. So yeah, because these ideas need to be built very region specific, because there's nothing central. None of our no two same producers come from the same farmer. The logistics is totally messed up. If one millet reaches me, the other millet doesn't reach me because something else has gone wrong with the other farmer. Some processing is delayed or some logistic transport is delayed. So these kind of things happen. So as we talk about localization and building local models, this is another suggestion which I would say. When you want to work with farmers, build your, know your region, know what it needs, and know what's your potential personally and how you can contribute to it.
Yeah. Thank you. That's very true. Please, like, that's the most important thing with anything, that it must be contextualized to the region you're in. And thank you for offering that you can support with the questions to ask in the survey to do. So if anyone is truly interested, then it would be nice. We can get those questions for you and share them with you. I would now actually like to open it up to some questions. So I see a question from Kritika. Kritika, would you like to maybe come on camera and say your question so we hear a different voice, see a different face? If you're here, yes, you're here.
Hi, sorry. So my question was, if you want to, 1 second, let me just, So my question was that if you want to provide affordable organic food, how do you go about doing that if you want to set up something and make it affordable too?
Okay, very good question. It's a very common question with a lot of people have. So I'll give you a very simple example. Point number one is you need to cut down your food mileage. That's one of the main reasons cost of the food goes up. When food mileage increases, the number of people who handles it increase. Their cost of working increases, so everyone adds up in the food. That's one thing. I'll tell you how we have worked out the one specific thing which I told you. Let's say for the past 3 years of running the store, I haven't, whatever is locally grown, like this region has a lot of papayas, bananas, chikus, guavas, muskmelons, watermelons in season, mangoes in season. Not even once we have gone to a farmer who's 25-30 kilometers plus to bring bananas or any of the things which I mentioned now to the store. Let's say I'll give you a direct example. Let's say we sell papayas at 60 rupees per kilo, and there are 3 people involved in the whole transaction. One is the farmer, the other is the let's call it trader. The other person is the trader, and the other person is the customer. So the farmer quotes a price which is reasonable to him. I compare, I see what's the price of inorganic papayas in the market. Right now, I am selling papaya at 60 rupees per kilo. 60 rupees is inorganic papaya in the market. 20 rupees, which will also cover transport, so the profit will be somewhere like 15 rupees or 18 rupees, somewhere like that. So the customer feels good that I'm not paying a huge price for the papaya, and this has been working out for me for the past 3 years. And the farmer feels very happy that I'm paid what I asked for, and this is a very reasonable margin for me. So sometimes when farmer grows a lot, he has a lot of produce, he is willing to give away in a lesser price. He says, 35 is okay for me. I'm happy with 35 because you're taking all of it. So there is some farmer who quotes a price saying that farmers have this habit of not quoting a price for their produce. This is one of the reasons why farmers keep failing. If you ask them, okay, what's your price? If you find an organic farmer and if you have decided to buy from him and if you have gone through all the authenticity checks for his produce, so we get into this conversation. So, okay, what is your price? He'd still say something. He would ask me to say something, quote my price. So we stress on this to the farmer saying that you need to have a price, you respect your work and you respect your produce. That's how other people respect your produce. You need to quote the price. So the farmer will say, okay, 20 rupees. So I tell him I pay 40 rupees for this farmer, which I buy from. And then he realizes, okay, this is the value of my produce. So these things happen. So this is local fruits. We have been very successful in selling local fruits, not in a very exorbitantly priced, the organic labeled price in the market here. This has been working out for the past few years. I've been supplying fruits for a lot of people, fruit processing units, sun drying units, dehydration units. I've been supplying dehydrated fruits for an ashram in Tamil Nadu for their kitchen for the past 8 months. So fruits, this example which I shared now is a very personal experiment which we did, saying that we are not going to buy perishables, especially fruits from 30+ kilometer distance. So that cost goes down, wastage goes down, number of people in the middle is reduced. So reducing food mileage. Ask questions about where your food comes from, where is my farmer, how long did it travel. So basic. So can I read on the next question, which is in the chat box, and start?
Yes. So I think Achal's question, are you reading Achal's question, Dinesh?
Bhavani, what was about the pricing you were talking?
Right. Bhavani, do you want to clarify your question?
Yes, I think Dinesh, when you were talking about the moong dal something sale, you were mentioning something about 55 rupees and 110 rupees. I was wondering, like, I might have misunderstood. Were you like selling it for more cost than usual, or I
got it. So the government has the public distribution system. They procure produce from the farmer. So at that point of time, we were paid 5,500 rupees for a 100 kg bag, which is 55 rupees per kilo.
Yes.
You just get rid of it wholesale. You just take it and he weighs it and he pays you right there.
Right. Yes.
So I told my father, let's wait for a week. I have a plan because I have planned my marketing 2-3 weeks ago. I've started sending WhatsApp messages saying that we are going to harvest it. This is my first crop. Like sending it out to my teachers, my friends, school friends, my neighbors, and all the people whom I personally know in the town. So at that point of time, the retail price for moong in the market was somewhere around 100 or 105 something. So we decided, okay, let's keep it 110. So I personally went and delivered to people at a price of, I'm not sure, somewhere around 110 or 115, not more than that I did. So as I was mentioning now, the papaya pricing, it was very similar to that. Organic, you get at the same price of inorganic, which is in the market. This is what we cut down. It goes to the government. The government procurement system. They sell it to a big mandi, the wholesaler, who sells it to another wholesaler who handles various range of produce. Let's say the wholesaler only handles green moong or lentils. Then he gives it to another wholesaler who handles all the grocery. Then he gives it to a shop. The transportation cost, the working cost of all these people involved in the middle, and where it ends up in the shop, in the retail shop, and you buy it from the market, it ends up being 110, 115. So I said, I'm putting this effort. I'll take all this profit. I'm the farmer. I'm the guy who markets it. Let me take the profit. Let me sell it for a reasonable price.
So connected question to that really quick was that, is there a way we can think from the angle of the customer, and is it possible if we are doing an organic farming like this to reach people to go a little lesser than what's available in the shop because of their affordability, or is that do you think from that angle too, or making it available for a little lesser cost than what's usually available for inorganic things in the market?
That is possible when the scale increases. When the scale increases, when organic produce scale increases, it's definitely possible. It's just an experiment. Even when I was sharing the papaya cost, it's just an experiment. It could be, who knows, it could be 45 rupees, it could be 50 rupees a kilo. So when from the store aspect, as a person who runs the store, the person should have I'm transparent to my customers. I tell them, this is my percentage margin and this is how much I spend for the transport. It depends upon, something comes from Karnataka, which doesn't grow locally. Masoor dal, for instance, comes from Karnataka. Bengal gram comes from Andhra Pradesh. So the transport cost within Tamil Nadu for me is 5 rupees. Transport and handling cost is 5 rupees per kilo. And when it comes from Karnataka or Andhra Pradesh, it goes up to 8 or 9 rupees per kilo. So how your customers are, if this customer is really interested in involving in this conversation. We start a conversation saying that, this is what happens and this is my margin. So I've experienced a lot of judgments from customers. Funnily, your friends whom the people whom judge you, whereas people who end up being a customer by seeing you on Google, they end up supporting you.
Right.
So I have a customer who's a doctor who doesn't believe in organic. He says, don't talk about organic to me. But he literally buys all his, whatever is available in the store and whatever is using in his kitchen, he buys everything from me. I asked him, like, why are you buying from me? You don't believe in organic. Why are you paying extra? He said, I like your work.
Nice.
So I told him, okay, more such people to the store. So it's, and as a customer, you should question customer is the king, as we keep hearing about it. You need to question if, let's say if 100 people go to a supermarket and ask something, I'm sure that in the next week, if you go and look at it in a shelf, he'll have it. The market is trying to sell things which the customer thinks that it's good for them. Now everyone is getting into organic sugar, like Paris is getting into organic sugar. Oh, all these days, as if he didn't know about what refined sugar was. Now he's getting into organic sugar, 2 sugar canes put up in their label. So it's what the customer demands. Customers need to be aware and need to ask questions about what comes to them.
So I actually want to take a question that Prachi has written, because I think that will be linked to Achal's question, which is that first is, can I start a small organic food store in my community? And if yes, how?
Yes, the advice is to literally start a small store. The initial investment I did for my store was 6,000 rupees. I got a weighing machine. I cleared one side of my bedroom. And I had 5, we had coconut oil from our farm. We had 1 millet from the farm, and we had moon and urad and turmeric from the backyard. And few other produces from local farmer, ragi flour, groundnut and groundnut oil. I think it was somewhere close to 10 or 12 initially. For 6 months, I was running my store in my bedroom. I used to invite people used to come to buy stuff. I used to take them inside, make them sit, and that's how it started. And then we moved to a living area. I occupied the whole living area, the family area, and I ran the store for 1 year. And then I said, I need a separate space. Then we moved upstairs, and I ran the store downstairs, like a 2 BHK. 1,000 square feet space. Right now I'm running the store there. The idea is to invest very less, go through this little experiences of starting it small and start with a limited range of produce which you believe that it's authentic.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. That makes so much sense. And that's such a fun idea, no? Start in your own room, low investment, and test out your idea. So that's a fascinating thing.
Yes, getting too personal, you started in your hall. In your
Nice. Okay, so we have a question from somebody, and I'm just trying to find it, who asked, what is the difference between organic and inorganic food? I don't know if that person is still in the room.
Specific
So if that
difference.
person,
Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
yes, Nikhil.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to know from Dinesh, like specifically what things are there which are different, like in organic and inorganic products, like in terms of fertilizers you use, pesticides which you use. So I just wanted to know on that regard.
Okay, I'll put it very simply.
Yeah.
Humans, I wouldn't say humans, people who live in the urban areas especially, we eat we eat more than what we actually need. We are overfed, we overfeed ourselves, we have too much of nutrition that our body can't balance it. And the imbalance is that people have people in the rural areas, people who can't afford people who can't even afford food, forget organic food, they're malnourished. So there's a huge imbalance. When globalization started and when food started traveling from one country to another country, even though when you grow, you wouldn't believe India is one of the top 10 importers of tur dal and top 10 exporters of tur dal. In 2017, I saw the statistics, which is we sell tur dal to first world countries and we buy from the third world countries, from Africa. And Africa has some countries who export tur dal they are top in the list of malnourished children in the world. So it is not food anymore. It is just industry. It's just food manufacturing. The food which comes to us is not food anymore. A friend of mine imports cashews from Africa and he processes it here and he sells it in the local market. We are in a very good region where a lot of quality cashews grow. We procure local cashews and process it and export it to countries like US and Europe. So it's totally messed up. We have messed up the soil, we have messed up the water bodies through the inputs which we give. We have messed up the seeds. We have designed the seeds so that they don't, they listen to us. We have started programming seeds. So this is like putting a DNA of a frog in a tomato so that the tomato doesn't drop down and get damaged. This is happening. This could seem funny to you, but this is happening. I gave you a very simple example so that there's less wastage in the tomato. So this seed company comes to you and says, we are selling our seeds, gives you tomatoes which is which has less damages in the transport, so there's the loss is less and all this. So coming back to your question, what is the difference between organic and inorganic? Starting from seed to the way you cook and the way you eat it, everything comes into it's a way of lifestyle, I should put it. It's seed needs to be native. The process you grow needs to be native. Organic farming itself, people who practice organic farming methods, healthy farming methods itself they themselves have a lot of difference in opinion. I'll simply list the number of farming methods, non-chemical farming methods which I know. Organic farming, natural farming, Shiva Yoga farming, zero budget natural farming, biodynamic farming, do nothing farming. So people who even practice organic farming have difference in opinion, but we'll have to stand totally away from using chemical fertilizers and polluting the soil and water bodies. Yeah, to a major extent, the difference between organic and inorganic farming is what inputs you use, what seeds you use, how do you process it. You grow you grow inorganic sugarcane and you make jaggery out of it, doesn't make sense. You make organic sugarcane and you send it to the sugar factory to process it, it doesn't make sense. You grow organic sugarcane, you process it, you process jaggery organically without adding, usually jaggery they add sulfur and some chemicals to it so that they get they get rid of the dark color of the jaggery so that it's more marketable. It turns light, like glittery yellow color. So everything makes sense. And you also sell it to a person who values your produce. You sell it to an organic store who values your produce. You don't, sell it to, someone in a very less price because all the energy you have put in and all the cost which has gone through. And obviously it's our responsibility as someone who runs a store. I literally call a trader. It's our responsibility to build trust with the customer. That's our part. So yeah, did that answer the question?
I think yes, it does answer your other question Nikhil had. I know Prachi has a pressing question and I will let Prachi ask the question, but I have one question, like a follow-up where you said, find stores that are willing to sell your product. So Aanchal is wanting to know, she has just one product that she has created and she doesn't necessarily want to set up an organic store of her own, but she wants to send it out into the market. So she wants to know if you can give any advice on how she can do that.
What's the product? Just give me just.
Aanchal, could you come on camera and share if you're here? She was typing.
Yeah, hi Dinesh and Manyata and everybody. Mine is a nutrient dense drink. So I was just wondering, how to plug into the market and, what are the prerequisites that one needs to, go about it? Because I don't know, I haven't even tested the market as yet. So if you can guide me through as to how to, start small.
Okay, let's talk about it. I've shared my contact details.
Thank you. I think that's helpful. So Aanchal, because that's a slightly more specific query, so you can reach out to Dinesh. And thank you, Dinesh. That's very generous of you to share your details and help support people here. So thank you so much. Prachi, do you want to ask the question, please?
Yeah. I think I would like to ask, like you already covered a bit of it, like, we start doing small is an answer. Are there other ways, like what do you see the scope of it if we want to go organic? There has been constant questions in the chat around how can we convince someone, and you already covered it saying we don't have to convince, it genuinely naturally flows if more and more people are adopting it. So I'm saying one scope is you start organic store, right? What is other scope you see in this field which people who are genuinely interested in this work can take up, like other small things which ultimately helps us to become more organic, like live more organic, natural lifestyle?
You can't convince people to convert it.
Yeah.
People you can convince when there's a spark. Your neighbor sees that you're growing something, it is interesting for him, and he sees you that you marketed it well, or he sees that the produce has grown well, your soil is different, whatever it is, like it's very specific. And it also depends on the relationship which you have with them. I know successful organic farmers who have been practicing organic farming for the past 15-20 years. They have been successful in marketing, they have been successful in working with the soil, they have been successful in reaching out to people. One of my mentors, who's a schoolmate of my father, is this guy. He has been very successful in the past 20 years. Schoolmates, living in the same town. He lives 2 streets away from my place, and still he didn't manage to convince my father to go organic. But this fellow is doing well. So when we got working together, I asked him, you're my father's friend, you know him for many years, why didn't you initiate this conversation? And he said, you can't talk to these people, it's waste of energy. People have to, your work has to attract people. Just keep doing your work well, and change will happen. People will come to you if they really want to come to you. If they don't come to you, it's meant that it's not meant for them to get hands on.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. And pricing is not like you can, like you said in your previous talk, I just want to confirm that pricing is not really the challenge. Like farmer is also getting more and you can sell at the market price and still run a sustainable business if
Pricing will
you
not,
are reducing the mileage.
pricing will not be a challenge at all. I can give you 100% guarantee if it is procured from local. Like you keep a 1 hour travel by road distance.
Hmm.
If it has the dynamics of the energy which you put in, the planning, the other logistics, the transportation, and the time it reaches you, the storage time which you have, and the wastage which goes through. Actually, for the first 2 years, whole 2 years, I would have handled tons of bananas where my wastage percentage for 1 ton of banana would be like less than half a kilo. You wouldn't believe it. So we plan it so well, and there's very less wastage if you transport it with extra care. It reaches from the farm. It reaches you in like half an hour, less than 1 hour. It reaches you. They just harvest it. They just make it into small bunches. They put it in a sack, pack it safe in the bike or in a small auto, and it reaches you in less than an hour. You take it and you sort it out and you keep it, and you can keep it for 3-4 days. When it completely turns yellow, in the process you can sell. This is one of my energy boosters for me. I especially handle bulk fruit sales on a Sunday morning. I wake up on a Sunday morning. I say, today I'm going to work with fruits. For some reason, fruits gives a good energy because there's a decent margin. You get the credibility increases when you give good fruits to people. I have noticed it.
Yeah,
So, yeah, when you handle it locally, I can assure that there will be very less pricing challenges.
Yes. Thank you so much. I am just looking at the time, and so in the interest of time, since we have another section after this, I think we can close this space now.
So quickly,
Dinesh, I have a question. I will finish very fast. Can I go?
Yes, Sudha, you can go just one sec. Dinesh, you are trying to say something.
Yeah.
Go through the questions which is in the chat box.
Yeah.
So yeah, I covered most of them. I am looking at them to see. We have Ajay who had a question, but Ajay, I think yours was more around a service you're providing, so maybe you can reach out.
No, he's saying, do you find any platform?
No, and then there is a follow-up there. That's
sorry.
Yeah.
I'll answer this question. Permaculture, yes. Permaculture is another way of farming. Basically, the West copied the concept of permaculture from Indians. We have been growing permaculture, something like our way of farming is respecting the biodiversity. We respect plants, we respect insects. There are good insects and bad insects. We respect the birds and we respect all the living organisms in it's in harmony. So permaculture is, yes, that's how, they have marketed it well to the world. Permaculture is another way of farming which you can practice. One Straw Revolution, Fukuoka talks about do nothing farming. One Straw Revolution doesn't just talk about do nothing farming. They have a whole philosophy. This is my book which inspired me when I started work, because it talks about the philosophy of starting from marketing to your the way you feel about yourself as an individual, how you see the value of your work, the value of food. Like Fukuoka says, he stopped selling it to organic stores. So if you just look at the contents, it would be very interesting. This book is very cheap, 150 rupees. This is a very time relative book. I read it after 6 months from now, I get a new perspective, and again after 6 months I get a new perspective. So this book has been with me since 2014. I also give this book to people a lot, so please buy this book. You can't convince people about buying organic food. You can initiate the conversation. They'll have to make the step. GMOs. Someone asked about GMOs. Wait.
Yeah. Someone has asked something. I'm just finding.
Largely in India, they are trying to push mustard, GM mustard, which a lot of farmer organizations have been trying to, activist organizations have been trying to, resist very. And the complete world, the whole world has been taken. The GM corn has taken the whole world. Mexico had like more than hundreds and varieties of corn, which is like violet, red, yellow, blue in color. But even GM corn has taken over the Mexican fields also. The American corn, which you eat now, which comes in the market, which they serve you, it's very soft. That's literally GM. So corn has taken over as a GM product, and they are trying to push mustard in the market now. Yeah.
Then we have a question saying how to enhance quality of soil naturally. That's the next question in the chat.
Oh wow, that's a conversation which go for years.
Yeah. That's what. Okay. So
I think
Brad.
this conversation is far from over, but I think one last question, if we can answer, is where do you procure the seeds for farming? Like if by any chance this is something short we can share.
So we have local farmers. Let's say a farmer has 3-4 acres of land. He's completely into seed saving. He grows food for his family in one small, less than 1 acre patch, and he uses 3 acres of land to just save seeds. He grows it, he saves the seeds, he packs it, and he gives it to people who's asking for seeds. Especially there are farmers in our region. There are farmers who save paddy seeds. There are farmers who save vegetable seeds. So yeah, it's an expertise. People who do vegetable seeds, they can't focus on the. I mean, if you want to do it commercially for your community, if you go reach out to someone reaches out to you, you don't have to say no. Someone wants to do a kitchen garden, someone wants to do a terrace garden, they reach out to you and you don't want to say no. It's your responsibility to support the community. So you'll have to do it commercially full time so that it's available for everyone. So in our circle, we have farmers we have a professor who is into full-time farming who saves 1,400 varieties of paddy seeds, native paddy seeds from all over the country. He doesn't grow them, he conserves them. He grows them every year in small patches. He takes the new seeds, he saves them, and he does it every year, and he trains people who are interested in doing it. So seed work is a full-time work. Growing organic food is a full-time work. Processing jaggery is a full-time work. Running a store is a full-time work.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think we've covered everything. Now, the last question was where do you procure the seeds for farming? After that, people asking about the book that Aditi has written.
We will send you these informations, and we will also be happy to share with you email ID of Dinesh. That's all right? So that people can reach out to you if the need be. But yes, I would. Sorry, but we have to close this now because it's reaching close to 7. And I think this is just the beginning. This is not end of these conversations. So we will find you all again soon so that we can keep these conversations going. And Dinesh, you want to say something to end with? You're welcome.
Someone asked about me venting.
That was Achal.
Yeah, that's the way for pulling in people. People, I'm actually venting. Let's keep it venting. But it's people need to understand what challenge someone else is going through.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's how we relate to them. That's how we relate to the challenges, and it's our responsibility, even if you're a consumer, it's your responsibility to contribute from your side with your understanding.
Yes. And I think with this, I want to end with a last thought, sorry, to just compliment what Dinesh is saying. I think venting is very important, and asking questions, like being disillusioned and not okay with things which are not okay, is important. And at least that's the slightest bit we can do as our own. Like at least asking questions and saying this is not right, this doesn't sit well with me. I think that is the slightest contribution we can do possibly. So yeah, Anita.
So thank you so much, Dinesh. I don't even know where this hour went, and it was just very, very lovely talking to you. Thank you for sharing your journey with everyone here. I think on behalf of everybody here, a big, big, big thank you for joining us. We do have a little hangout space after this. If you feel like staying, you can definitely stay. If you need to log off now, then that's also totally fine. But yeah, just wanted to say a big thank you to you.
Yeah.
Have to say.
Sure. So I think people are still going to be joining. We usually start that at 7, and I think there are some sessions that are still finishing. So